Certainly Generation One, we've heard a lot about it in the press in particular. There's very high profile leaders from Twiggy Forest down. And I think this fact that corporate Australia has decided to take some real responsibility in that very philanthropic sense that perhaps we see in other places in the world is a great move forward, that these people have said, well, enough is enough. Whatever programs we've been doing in the past with Indigenous Australia really haven't measured up to the mark, and we've got to try something else. Because at the end of the day, if there's no jobs, it's very difficult to move Indigenous Australia on. It's the same for white Australia. If you don't have a job, the greatest thing, the greatest social welfare we can give to any individual in Australia is to make sure they've got a job, because we know from a job flow all those good things. You have better health, you have better education outcomes, you have better outcomes in your family, and it's all because you have a job, because you have self-respect and you have the money to deal with the day-to-day issues in your life. It gives you ambition. It's great stuff. When we hear Noel Pearson talk about these things, we know that welfare is hurting Australians, but there has to be another course, and the other course has to involve a job. And in this case, well, as I said, corporate Australia is coming on board, and they're going to help provide those jobs. So it's a great program. Well, there is a big push from governments right across the board to try and bridge this gap between Indigenous Australia and white Australia. There's been a lot of training in the past. Whether or not it always hits the mark is the question, but it's having the job to go to after you've done the training. Training is available, through organisations like TAFE. The high schools are concentrating now on some delivery of trades training, those types of levels. So there is help out there for people. There's help with English language skills through TAFE if that's what you need to catch up to the benchmark. Because at the end of the day, it's very difficult to do any job unless you can read and speak English in a competent manner. So for those, particularly Indigenous Australians that come from inland Australia, where English is the second language, these are big obstacles and big steps. So I think the training program presented broadly is there, but it's having an endpoint to go to, and that's what Generation One is about. Well, the first thing is you really have to believe in yourself. I think that's the most important thing, and back your own abilities, and the way to do that, like to a lot of young people, they come to me and they say, why would I stay at school? Well, it's not always completely obvious, but I've never met anyone in their 40s that said, gee, I wish I'd left school earlier. But you often run across people who say, gee, I wish I'd stayed there a bit longer. It would have given me a stepping stone into where I needed to go with my life. So those skills that you learn in school do prepare you for the next step. So if you see yourself in the future as having a job and raising a family and doing all those good things that you can see around you, you need those building blocks. So people really need to hang in there, do the hard yards, and then when you get out there and start applying for those jobs, you know that you can do the job. That you look around you and you see that person over there and you think, I can do that. That is not that hard. So all you have to do is really believe in yourself, back yourself, and get out and have a go.